everyone. My name is Laurie and I'm from Family Law Services Online. Today we are joined by Sharron Keogh. Sharron shows professional and entrepreneurial women how to transform their relationship with themselves. And she's been developing her method for creating full body wellness for over the past 10 years. Sharron works with her clients to help them gain more clarity, have a greater sense of self-worth, significantly improved wellness, and deeper connections to themselves and those around them. As a holistic health practitioner, Sharron provides one-to-one coaching. She facilitates women's circles, is an essential oils expert, and delivers incredible self-care treatments to bring balance back to the mind and body through raindrop technique massage, hot stone massage, and energy balancing work. Sharron will share with us some simple and practical strategies over the course of the next few weeks on what she does to help her clients during times in their life when they may be dealing with bouts of stress, overwhelm, and all the while feeling low on energy. She works with them to help them feel more calm, relaxed, energized, and regain a newfound sense of clarity. So today, Sharron, I'm going to hand it over to you to tell us why you do what you do and to share some tips on how we can find our inner calm. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me, and hello everyone. It's so nice to meet and connect with you. I guess the reason I got into this work was from initially what started to be a tumultuous 2020, not knowing how things were going to pan out and kind of following my passion. But essentially, I was somebody who was dealing with a high corporate career. I was in a senior management position. I was traveling pretty much every month, if not multiple times in a month. And I wasn't always taking the best care of myself, despite knowing all the right things to do. And consequently, what would happen is every year, once or twice a year, I would run myself into the ground and wipe myself out, causing me to basically not be as effective in my job, but also in my side business that I had at the time. So I guess now I love sharing all the different tools and techniques, and it's about keeping it simple as well and implementing those simple strategies into our day-to-day lifestyles so that ultimately we can move forward through these challenging times that we might be facing.
We often do try to overcomplicate things, don't we?
Absolutely. And look, if I did everything that was meant to be healthy and great for me, I wouldn't get anything else done in the day. If I was dry body brushing, if I was gua sharing, if I was using my essential oils, if I was doing exercise, if I was meditating, that in itself is just overwhelming, me saying all those things. And even though they're all great, different things work for different people. So it's about finding also what works for you and what's going to support you in those times. And I think just having a range of tools in your toolkit is what's going to help get you through them.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
So I guess in today's topic around finding your inner calm, I wanted to share 4 strategies that I know either are successful for myself or for my clients. And that really help when you're going through a stressful time, how to kind of come back into yourself, come back into your body and find that inner peace.
Yep.
So one of the things that I love to do and share with people is journaling. So some people find it quite therapeutic to get everything that's going, all those thoughts that they have in their head down and out on paper. Because once you've got it out of your head, you can start to think a lot more clearly. And it's not necessarily something that you have to look at yourself. You know, sometimes those thoughts you don't want to see, they're not nice. Don't even look at them again. Just put them down, tear it up, chuck it in the bin, and just move on. So it's not for you or anybody else to have a look at. It's just about brain dumping and getting it out. And sometimes doing that first thing in the morning, even before you get out of bed, it doesn't have to take too long. If you don't have anything to write, just go, I don't have anything to write today. this is dumb. I hate this. And I've written those things myself. So I find that that's just something nice and easy. You can do it in bed, 5 minutes max, even, and just helps you start the day with a clearer mind.
It's also, if I can jump in here, it's also a great tip for those of you who are having some type of conflict with your spouse or with your ex, to be able to vent and say everything you want to say without actually having to speak to the other person and have that thrown back in your face at a later time.
Absolutely. Most definitely. So that's the first tip that I want to share. And the second thing that I wanted to share is around taking some time out for yourself. And I know that that can be really challenging, especially if you've got kids as well that you're trying to manage and all of that. But it's really important to prioritize yourself and your needs and taking some time for you. Um, Often we just don't, we've been conditioned to push through, push through, it'll be okay. I've done it before, I can do it again. But ultimately, when we push through in those moments and think that it's going to be like we've done it before, we end up compromising our health and our well-being. And ultimately, we have a lower level of ability to cope with all the day-to-day things coming at us as well. So as I said already, it's about finding something that works for you, that you're going to enjoy. And that's a physical component, and it can be a mental component as well. So for some people, that might be meditation, it might be yoga, it might be running, it might be going for a walk, it could be just getting out into nature, spending time with some really good friends who are going to support you and lift you up. Um, there are so many things, and again, it doesn't have to take a long time. Sometimes when people think about meditation or yoga, they think that it has to be an hour or 20 minutes twice a day. And whilst if you do that, of course you're going to feel amazing, but it's about just something small. Sometimes I just do a 15-minute yoga class online and find a YouTube clip, and 15 minutes I'm like, yep, great, I've done that. So it doesn't have to take too long. Just finding some time just to recharge yourself is really important. And also, getting good quality food into your body, good quality sleep will also help make the difference in that respect as well. So, so the third thing that I wanted to share is around breathing. So when we're in flight or fight mode, our body is responding to the situation as really stressful. And the following effects can occur: anything from short, shallow breathing in our chest area, the blood starts pumping away from our digestive system and our key organs to the extremities, because it thinks that, back in the ages, that we were fighting a tiger, so we needed to run really fast away. So the blood will start pumping away from all of our key organs to our extremities. And then we get a rush of our hormones running through our body, such as cortisol, increasing our stress hormone. And then that causes chemical imbalances throughout our body as well. And that affects us mentally as well as physically. And if this continues for a long period of time, it can affect our immune system and our ability to fight illness and dis-ease in our body. So it's so simple, and yet we don't do it enough. But focusing on taking some slow and deep breaths just helps to calm and relax the body. It moves us into the parasympathetic nervous system. That's a long word. You don't want to say that fast three times. But it moves us back into the parasympathetic nervous system. It signals to our bodies that we're safe. The blood can return to the body parts that it needs to. We start breathing more from our belly and our diaphragm as opposed to just our chest. And all the oxygen starts to flow and go back to our returning to our cellular health that we want. I love using this as a form of meditation, because in that moment, we're breathing, we're taking deep breaths, we're being present, We're being mindful. I love incorporating the essential oils into it as well, because it just makes it so easy to do that. There are essential oils that I love. I used some before I got on this call. Peace and calming. You calm and relax me when I had technical difficulties. But in that moment, just smelling those oils, it helps to relax the nervous system. It brings me into this present moment. And that's what meditation is. So it doesn't have to be complicated. And you can be killing, I like to be highly efficient. So you kill two birds with one stone. You're breathing and you're being mindful at the same time.
Slightly essential, thing that we must do. It's interesting in terms of being in that fight or flight mode too, that often when we're in that state from a relationship perspective, that's when, things have kind of hit boiling point and we're high in the conflict area. But that's also the time when, for some reason, we think that we have to then address those issues. And being in that fight or flight mode, we're not thinking clearly. We don't have that inner calm to be able to address those issues in an objective manner that we need to be able to. So being able to just take that step back and have the ability to breathe in and breathe out and let it go and go, I can come back to this at a better time for both of us, is a great tool.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the other thing with everything that I'm sharing as well, is incorporate your children into these practices. Teaching our children these kinds of skills at a young age is going to set them up powerfully for dealing with issues in their futures that they may come up against. And if we make it common and normal now when they're young, they're just going to grow up thinking that this is what they do.
Yep.
And again, it's not about, it's a beautiful way to also spend time, quality time with your children as well, if you incorporate them into this as well. So you can be using that time to reflect and have a conversation. Well, how do you feel about that? What did you notice? And start that conversation at home as well with your children. So teaching them how to journal, teaching them how to take deep breaths. And the last thing that I wanted to share is around gratitude. Incorporating them into your gratitude practice is such a beautiful thing. At home we say, what are 10 things that you're grateful for today? And you could be doing that over dinner when you're eating your dinner. You can be doing it before you go to bed, or you can say in the morning, what are you grateful for? So right now, if you're going through some kind of family conflict, of course, it might be challenging for you to find some things that you're grateful for. And I totally get that. But the more that we can express our gratitude right now for what we have, the more wonderful things are going to come to us and come into our world. So even if it's finding one or two things and starting small and then building up from there, it's a really good practice to get in. When we start to practice gratitude, our vibrational state that we're in will change energetically within our bodies. And I think most people these days have heard of, the law of attraction, and that states, whatever we'll always attract more of whatever we're vibrating at. So if we're in a negative vibration or a negative energy state, we're going to keep attracting more negative stuff into our world. And if we can shift ourselves into a more positive mindset, positive energy, positive vibration, we're going to start to attract more positive things into our world. So gratitude is just a really quick and simple way to shift our vibration from a negative one to a positive one. And, the first thing that I'm always grateful for, and it's something new that I've taken over the last few months, is starting to be grateful. The first thing on my list is me. Being grateful for myself. And in doing that, I find something to acknowledge myself, because we don't acknowledge ourselves enough.
Yep.
So I'm really grateful that I've pushed myself outside of my comfort zone today. Or
awesome.
So it's something different, and you start to reflect on all the things that you're accomplishing, all the things that you're achieving, even in a challenging situation when your world might feel like it's been thrown up and being spit back out.
Yep.
So if I've already given you the first thing on your gratitude list, you need to find at least one other thing.
And do you know what? Like sometimes I know because I practice gratitude as well. And one of the things, we just had a spout of cold weather where I am. For me, it was like having a hot cup of coffee or a cup of tea in the mornings or having some warm pajamas or just the blankets that I could cover myself up with. Those little things, they don't have to be, big goal, life-saving things that you've got to be grateful for all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes it's the fact that the sun's been out today, or that I got some fresh air, or that I moved my body.
Very much so.
So it's just starting small and just building upon it from there. I personally love to do it at night time before I go to bed. Again, that helps to calm and relax the mind, get you into a really grateful space to help ease you into sleep. Other people love it doing it at the beginning of the day to, again, help set up themselves vibrationally. Different things work for different people. So just find what works for you. But it's something that I guess probably a lot of people, nothing what I'm sharing here today is probably nothing new to a lot of people. But I think it's realizing the power that all of this stuff has and what it brings to us is really what makes a difference. So trying to see how we can build it in, like, with what I was sharing before, we can think that it's really overwhelming. There's all these things. But literally, with what I've shared today, 5 minutes for journaling, max. If you don't have time, and I know what it's like to not have time, if you have a minute of 5 minutes max for journaling, if you focus on your breathing throughout the day, even if you're on a work call, while you're sitting here listening to me talking, you could be just focusing on taking some beautiful deep breaths because you just have to sit there and listen. While you're doing that, you're taking some deep breaths, you're being present in this moment, you're relaxing your nervous system. Gratitude can be a few minutes as well. And all of those things, and taking some time out for yourself, even like I say to people, if all you can do is take time out for yourself by having a cup of coffee in peace and quiet for 1 or 2 minutes, and that recharges you, it can be as simple as that.
Yeah.
So they're my main tips in how to find your inner calm.
Thank you so much, Sharron. And as I said before, Sharron will be joining us over the next few weeks to talk about some different topics. So we'll see you again shortly.
Thanks so much for having me.
Ta.